Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Daniel. This is Jonathan. Today we are back with Death Note episode 20. Last time
it was fun.
We had a good episode.
It was a lot of close moments.
A lot of close calls.
It's
the beginning of a new era with with L and this new building, and no longer working with police. So it's a different approach now.
Right.
They're using just all of his resources, no longer using the police's resources, which meant that they had to quit to keep working with them.
Right, and obviously they were loaded because Aizawa was ready to go back to. I mean, rightfully so, I think. Right.
Yeah, I mean, he had little kids.
Right, he needed to go back to his job, back to the police force, which was crazy. The fact that the what's the group name? The business group people. I forget their name, but.
The company?
Yeah, the fact that they were able to threaten, coerce the police department into, not looking for Kita anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Or investigating Kita anymore. And so that's the reason why they had to leave. But again, Aizawa left rightfully. But in the process of that, he did find out that L had set up a escrow or trust fund, if you will, for each of them.
To protect them had they quit. I wonder... It may have said in the episode if once they leave, that's it, or if they have a chance to leave, to choose not to stay and then quit later and go back.
Yeah, I think L told them no,
once you're
work
out.
with them at all.
Yeah.
Which
so
sucks,
and then Matsuda was trying to be a hero. He's tired of being kind of looked down upon, so he took it upon himself. Almost got caught. He did kind of come up with the quick on the fly excuse,
and then now Misa's part of their.
She's like a spokesperson
for him.
So it kind of worked. They had to just rethink their whole strategy. But they got cameras in there now. So I'm assuming they can make good progress. And we talked about last time, they'll probably learn a lot more about the Death Note,
the rules,
because they know the rules, and ironically, so will Light.
Right.
Because
Well, but will he remember them? Remember? Because right now he doesn't have any recollection of any of his Death Notes.
Right. Which, by the way, someone in the comments had mentioned, and I can't remember what the details of the comment was right at this moment, but I think the comment said right now none of them own any Death Notes, because we talked about having sub lenders,
right,
and all that stuff. Well, right now, and maybe that's what they meant as well,
right? That they're not.
But it seems as if they said they have no access to any Death Notes at all. So it's almost like square one.
Right, and that's what I got. Or at least that's what I understood from the information cards, because they've sublet it. However, if the person they sublet it to dies, they then get the book back. Right. At least that's my understanding.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, I guess the comment I couldn't tell if they meant that it wasn't even subletted. But I may have misread that.
Okay.
I guess we'll find out.
Hopefully
soon. Because that whole concept is still
right.
Every episode we get a new rule. It's like the Death Note. This isn't a show where writing actual notes. Death Notes.
Right.
Would help. Anyway, we're gonna hop in and see what happens. Before we do, guys, please consider subscribing to our channel. Full interactions over on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. But we're gonna hop into episode 20. Makeshift.
Well then, let's begin tonight's meetings. Who should we kill next?
You see? Dang. It's just like I told you last week.
To be honest, in a certain sense, I'm relieved that Hattori's dead. Kira has demonstrated that we must be committed to these meetings. We now know what will happen if we try to leave.
Our next topic is Geraldo Coyle's report.
Oh, right.
One of their members just died, and that's all they're going to say.
Is this Coyle guy seriously going to be of any use to us?
How do you give enough information without giving yourself up?
Warning us that the concentration of killings that are beneficial to Yotsuba will likely be noticed by L
if they continue on Fridays and...
Oh, he told him that.
At any rate, I personally think we should stop killing every weekend.
It's like they're trying to confess to everything.
Right.
So we could probably arrest all 7 of them.
That's the thing, they're not.
The fact that Coyle noticed what we've been up to makes it too dangerous to continue killing at our usual pace.
Who should we kill?
I think we should focus on ELF Insurance. If they expand into the Japanese market, Yotsuba and many other companies will lose valuable clients to them.
Any objections to killing these people from ELF with accidental deaths?
No objections.
Is this for real? How can they do this so easily?
That's ironic,
right? It is Santoro Zenzai, remember?
Kira, deaths by accident, by disease, designated times of death. It's all just as we suspected.
We can only be completely sure after those people they've named are dead.
Yeah, they can't stop them because you can't prove anything.
Right. If we can confirm the connection between the accounts and the deaths, then we'll definitely be able to catch Kira.
Let's see her cues.
I can't carry on knowing these people will die. That's just immoral.
Right.
We can't let that happen.
That's right. It's obvious that these 7 men are behind the killings.
You're making this difficult.
So what do you say we take care of the ELF in 3 weeks, and as for Zenzai, we'll ask Kira to kill him this weekend.
We already know the phone numbers of these board members, don't we?
Yeah.
I need to reach one of these men and have them stop these murders.
It would mean the investigation caught up to them 3 days after they were contacted by Iber. Also, it would make it far more unlikely that we would be able to discover who the real Kira might be.
That's a tough dilemma. Like, allow someone to die to save many, you know?
We are going to need some solid proof.
The death note.
If one of these 7 men is in fact Kira, would it be safe to say that if I try calling one of them, the odds of that person actually being Kira is going to be 1 in 7?
I'm thinking there could be more than one Kira among them.
I'm going to pose as L. Judging from their conversations so far, the one least likely to be Kira, but with the most influence is Namikawa.
If you're going to make a call, please use this phone. It's set up
they all
so
said the same name except then.
I thought he was Kira. I thought he was most likely to be.
We can kill them and split their holdings.
Is this Reiji Namikawa? Listen carefully, but don't draw attention to yourself. I am L.
Dang. Okay, what's the play?
I've placed cameras and wiretaps throughout that meeting room.
The first thing you discussed was Hattori's death. If you are not Kira, or if you are not someone who can contact Kira directly,
let's make a deal. I need you to delay the deaths of ELF's president and Mr. Zenzai by 1 month.
What's in it for him, though?
Your crimes, no, not just yours, but everyone's
crimes, with the exception of Kira's, will be pardoned.
Ah, I see.
I'll be dead if Kira manages to find out. What should I do?
I'm planning to go one-on-one against Kira.
If I win against Kira, you will be acquitted of all charges. If Kira wins, then you'll be free to carry on with your comfortable life.
You're not in a position to lose anything regardless of who wins in the end.
Dang.
Wow.
Right. I'll see you Monday then.
Playing it off.
We're discussing when we should kill Zenzai and the men from ELF. We'll give Coil 1 month to reveal L's identity. Then we'll give him another month to investigate and repeat the process. Once we get rid of L permanently, we can go back to killing 2 or 3 people a week. In other words, our top priority should be the elimination of
So that's
L.
what he used.
I see.
We need to be extremely careful if we don't want to get caught.
Then
He's
we're
like,
in agreement. We'll give Coil 1 month.
There it is. He thought of that quick.
You really are quite amazing, Light. Not only did you manage to delay the killings, but you also set up Namikawa as a potential mole for us.
That was smart.
Sounded
on the fly.
Exactly like the sort of thing I would do, and you thought of it quicker than I did.
Dang.
If I end up dying somehow, it's quite possible that you would be capable of succeeding me. If I should die, would you take over for me as L?
Man, I wonder what's going through L's mind at this point. He's like,
Right.
I can't tell, because he was like pretty certain that
Set
Light
on.
was Kira.
Yep.
And now at this point, it's like you looking at everything, you're like, it's like you're a new person now. Everything you're doing and acting, and you're acting totally different, and it's totally anti Kira. Because before, it's like I can see you trying to manipulate both ways based off your answers, but now it's like completely different.
Well, but even Light, like the mental state, his demeanor that he's in.
Yeah,
he's like forgotten all about the death note, so it's like
I know, right? And he's just able to just think and it's ironic that he's like, how could they kill so easily? And it's like knowing that
you were,
because I mean, Light's at the end of the day he's still a genius,
right?
And now he's applying all of his his genius was split, trying to continue being Kira and trying to avoid L catching him while pretending to help him. Now it's fully focused on trying to catch Kira.
Yeah,
but he's so good he could probably catch himself. You know what I mean? So it's like
exactly.
All right. So if written the same name, how to use Death Note. Here's another rule. If written the same name on more than 2 Death Notes, more than 2 again, is completed within a 0.06 second difference, it is regarded as simultaneous. The death note will not take effect and the individual written off will not die?
Okay, so then I think it is talking about two. Meaning if we write the same, if you have one and I have one, and we write the same name down at the same time or within.
And they negate each other? It's like two negatives?
Yep. Equal a positive. Wow. And the positive is that he remains
But again,
alive.
more than two. That means I still read that as 3.
I still read that as 3 too.
But maybe it'd be a translation thing.
1.
And that's so specific. 0.06 seconds. That means we start writing at the same time. Like.
Yeah, it's like the lift of the pin. That's the time it would be.
That must be like a thing that they use. Like if Light gets his hand on a death note again, or if they get their hands on that death note and on the camera they're seeing them write a name, they're like watching him and timing it. And writing
could
the
you
same
imagine
name.
if that's the play?
And they write the same name. And then they tell that guy he doesn't actually die. They just get him and put him and like feed the media that he died, but he really didn't.
Dang. That would be.
That's crazy.
That'd
That's
be
like
a tough sell for the family.
And also
guy.
a tiny margin of error.
Yes. Extremely
0.06 seconds. Yeah. The god of death must at least own one death note. That death note must never be lent or written on by a human. The one that he owns. Because
No, the death god as in, or the god of death as in Rem or...
Right, so then
Ryuk.
whenever Ryuk or Rem, they each had their own death note. Separate from the one that was owned by...
Correct. They each had 2, right.
Yeah.
If he is Kira and just playing innocent,
I was about to say...
he's sure to say yes.
What are you talking about? As long as we're joined by these, we would die together anyway. He thinks that if I am Kira, then there are 2 possibilities. Either I'm just pretending I'm not him and putting on an act, or Kira's power has passed on from me to someone else, and I have no memory that I was ever Kira in the first place. If I am putting on an act, he will never remove these handcuffs. Ryuzaki still believes that I'm Kira. He thinks it was a plan. To pass on the power and arrange for it to come back to me once I've been cleared.
This is extremely
good.
Ryuzaki's theory is that once I steal L's title, I will become Kira again, having the power to control the police in every country while being Kira in secret. And you're thinking I could do it. But what about now? I told you I don't want your title. That should prove even to you that I'm not putting on an act.
But it doesn't prove that it was passed away and they can come back.
If this is all an act, and you are trying to steal my identity, there's no chance you would be foolish enough to reveal your plan in front of everyone.
Do you think that I'm actually capable of becoming a murderer? Kira? Do I seem like that kind of person?
And this is him being...
Him. Not being Kira.
Yes, you do. I've always thought so.
Wow. He's not wrong.
Right.
Oh, here it goes again. Oh, but they at the same time.
Not again.
Okay, break it up! Yeah, you're
They
right.
kick and punch.
Anyway, let's focus on catching the Kira that's in front of us right now.
We only have a month, so there's no time to get distracted.
Ryuzaki.
Yes? We have to be absolutely sure that Kira is among them, so there's no point in detaining them now. I believe it's still far too early for us to make our move. I think from now on, I should go after Kira by myself.
What?
We will be working independently. You can conduct your investigation under your own direction. I will be carrying on my own investigation. We'll only get into arguments if we don't split up and act separately at this point.
And I do the handcuffs?
Are you saying you're...
This case will never be solved unless we capture Kira himself.
Again, does he undo the
I
handcuff?
wonder who will succeed.
Well,
Ryuzaki,
he has to go with them still.
To Amani's room. But you're gonna have to come along.
Oh, then our light, I would make him stay with me downstairs. Why's he going to Mane's room?
I don't know.
I didn't know we were supposed to have a date. Oh, right, I should have known.
Misa Amani.
Oh, he's going to question her.
Light from the bottom of your heart.
Huh? Yeah. Of course I do.
If you had to choose between Light and Kira, who would you pick?
What? That's obvious. Of course it's gonna be Light. I'm really grateful to Kira and want to meet him someday in person, but that's not true love.
He says he wants to catch Kira. Now what will you do?
Well, if that's what Light says, then I'm gonna support him no matter what.
Okay.
Hopefully I get to meet him though.
I'm planning to have Iber pose as Geraldo Coil again. He'll tell the Yotsuba members that while he was investigating L, he discovered that Misa Amane might know who he is. If the Yotsuba group believes that Misa could be their lead to finding L, then they'll say that they want to meet her to discuss their advertising campaign. They'll use that opportunity to question her.
I won't mind doing something like this if it's for you, Light.
we don't know how far they'll be willing to go to get that information.
No
And if they
problem.
write her
I promise
name-
I won't say anything,
Right.
even if they torture me.
There's a good chance he might try to manipulate her into revealing what she knows and then kill her. Also, If he does manage to kill Elle, he won't have any use for Misa. He'd kill her to keep her silent.
I don't like the sound of that.
Light, you forget that if we win against Kira, Misa won't die. As long as we're handcuffed together, you and I share the same fate. Either we lose and both die together, or we successfully catch Kira.
I would never dream about living in a world without light.
Yes, that would be dark.
You see how he twisted that around?
That's crazy.
But if he dies as a heart attack,
right, that doesn't necessarily
mean
kill
that Light
Light.
has to die.
I think with our powers combined, we'll arrest Kira.
Light's taking a different investigative approach from us, and will be working with his father and the others.
You're leaving me with no other choice but to join your...
No, that's quite all right.
What are you talking about? Of course he'll be joining us.
It's too dangerous for her.
Thank you for worrying about me. But please let me do this. I want to be useful to you somehow. I would gladly die if it were for you, Light.
Figuring out the logistics of arresting 7 people is going to be challenging.
System 3. I'm not sure how capable. I mean, the police are doing good, but they kind of Light has really been driving this whole thing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I'm not really sure how far they can really go on their own.
I think Light L knows the capabilities Light has, and that's why he's kind of put this plan together to coerce him into working with him versus his dad and Mogi and Matsuda.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That's like crazy.
Very manipulative.
Yeah, it is. That was kind of a crazy situation with Light. Like really in-depth uncovering L's reasoning for the question. Yes. He like processed it so fast. He's like, I'm gonna have to tell him what's going on through your mind right now.
Yeah.
And it's like almost hard to keep up. He's like, there's 2 theories. Mm-hmm. And the fact that L picked up on the theory of the possibility of him purposely transferring Kira's power to and planning a way to regain it after he's been cleared. Right. So he's considering that as a possibility, as well as him never being Kira. I think he's considered that as a possibility because of how convinced he was that he was Kira.
Mm-hmm. And obviously,
he knows Light's sharp enough to come up with a plan like that.
Right. And obviously Light's actions are different from when he was Kira to now.
Yeah.
Total night and day.
Yeah. And so I think he probably believes that he believes that he was Kira and isn't now. But before the show made it seem like it just jumps at random. Mm-hmm. But he's come to the conclusion that he can choose, that maybe Light is a person who's smart enough to plan for it to leave him and then come back later.
Agree.
So then, it's crazy. What do you do even if you find? I guess all you can do to solve for that is find the Kira, stop them, and then figure out how the transfer happens, and then not let the transfer happen, and then only at that point can you absolve Light of all the accusations of him being.
But see, even then, I think I mentioned this last week, is we're not really chasing. Kira's not really a person. It's a concept of this notebook. So yes, there can be multiple Kitas who are in possession of the Death Note.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, they can relinquish ownership to it. And obviously, in this case, they have tape. They have, all of that.
You have to almost figure out how the transfer happens. Like, we know kind of how it has to happen, like a physical touch. If L ever figures that out, and he gets his hand on, maybe not his actual hands, like maybe he's wearing gloves, on that Death Note, mm-hmm. then he knows, okay, at this point, you are still Kira because you are still the owner of the Death Note, and I'm not going to give the Death Note back to you. Can that person, because he still has his Shinigami with him, can he still relinquish the Death Note?
I think so.
Right, and then at that point, if there's no other owner, it does just become an ownerless Death Note.
Right, it goes back to the god of death.
But if Light has it in his possession in a safe, then at that point, whether or not he relinquished it or not,
I think
you've stopped Kira.
Yeah.
At that point, right?
Right. So it's more so stopping the concept of these killings versus stopping a person, right? Because like I said, you're not really going to go get Kita arrest. Yes, somebody is controlling and writing the names and doing the actions, but again, once he relinquishes the ownership of that Death Note, he has no recollection, no memory. So you've got to have the recorded, evidence of it. And then at that point, yes, you collect that Death Note. Because even if you were to capture the person who has current ownership, and you put them in jail, they can never talk, they end up dying. Right. Well, I mean, Misa relinquished rights by her Shinigami God asking her. She didn't have to say anything vocally.
She just said yes or yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Once that person dies and there's no owner of it, the Death Note goes back to the god of death.
Yeah.
So then at that point, you do stop the killings, you do stop it, but who knows when
no one is ever arrested for it. At that point, the person who relinquished it, are they at fault? Or can they plead insanity?
Again, unless you have the recorded evidence like they do in that video of the conference room. But even in that, out of those 7, they don't know who the Kira is. They know they all know about it. And can maybe charge them with like co-conspiracy or something. But outside of that,
that's true.
There's no actual like murder charges that they can pin on anybody because they don't have the proof of who that is.
I wonder.
Crazy.
I wonder if L chooses to touch the notebook and to see the Shinigami. Doesn't act on it, but now he sees Ryuk and then he tries to like interrogate Ryuk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, there's
or now it transfers to him and he's the owner, and so therefore he's solved the case and he just doesn't ever.
Well, I think multiple people can touch the book and not have direct ownership of it because remember the crazy guy on the bus. I say crazy guy, the criminal on the bus.
Yeah,
who touched a page from the saw Ryuk, and then this sounds bad, but. Light touched Misa's, and then Misa touched his, so then they were able to see each other's god.
Right.
So it's one of those things where they won't have the ownership, and then trying to prove that in court would be silly. It's like, here, touch this. All right, now y'all all see this god of death.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just
there's a lot of ways to go about it. Like, do you? Yeah, I mean, I can see Light, or if like they can prove that Light was Kira, they can he can almost still plead an insanity case because the version of Light we know right now wasn't that one.
Correct. And and Light already has it. Light's already thought through this, and so has L, that it could have been that Kira's power was possessing Light, and he was acting subconsciously on it.
He was being controlled.
Right.
Right. Even though it was really Light thinking consciously.
Correct. Exactly.
They don't really know what it is yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting.
Messing with hurting my head.
I know it can literally go so many different ways, and I like that we're starting to see the Light and L like mental battles kind of sort of coming back.
Yep.
Anyway, good episode. That's all we got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Full-length reactions are on our Patreon, as well as early access to future episodes. If you want to check those out, we'll be back in a few days with episode 21. So until then, we will catch you on the next one. Peace.